Hey everybody, it's Mr. Lundquist here, coming back with a podcast for today. It's been a while since we have done a podcast as well as a newsletter. So there's a bunch of information in the newsletter today, but I want to talk about a couple things and not my Chicago Bear victory this weekend. Many of you know I'm a Bears fan, so it was a good Sunday, ugly but good Sunday. Anyway, we got a couple things I want to talk about today, but first off, I want to celebrate homecoming. Last week was fantastic. I will tell you the energy at that pep rally was amazing. My ears were ringing for hours afterwards. The parade was great. It was a beautiful day, a little warm. And that football game, whew, what energy. I can't tell you how amazing the energy was during that football game. The students were great. Tons of energy coming from the fans, the band, just all around great. And then that dance on Saturday, I'll tell you as a principal, an uneventful dance is a win in our book. And so really something to be proud of. Just want to thank all the students and the families for helping to prepare and get us ready for that homecoming and all the work you did. It just was really something special. And just thank you for that. Really brings that to see the school spirit, especially on Friday with all that red, was really fun. So the next thing I want to talk about is our school goal. This is really, I'm going to get into some weeds here with you, but I really feel like as families, you should know what we're doing here at the high school and why we're doing what we're doing. One of the things that we've tried to do is, as a building, look and see where can we get better, right? We believe that better is possible. And we do some really great things here, but there's always things that we can work on. And so this past summer, we started to dive into some data as a team, and we started to notice that we have some gaps in some between our students with disabilities and our general education students, which is not uncommon, but the biggest thing was the growth. We really wanted to make sure that everybody should be growing at the same rate. If not, our students with disabilities should be growing at a higher rate so we can try to close the gap. So we came up with a goal that I want to share this goal with you. And this has been something that's very internal, but I felt like it's really important for you to see as families so you can kind of see what our focus is. We believe that if all MHHS staff use collaborative time in a purposeful, structured, and focused manner, then the students will grow at a rate that exceeds the state average. Specifically, students with disabilities will achieve the same or a higher growth than their peers without an IEP, as measured by the value-added piece. And I'll talk a little bit about the value-added piece, but if you're wondering, like, what is that professional learning time, this is where teams get together during their planning time and start to look at data, start to have conversations on how they can better their own practices based on what they're noticing in assessments, what they're noticing in the classroom with homework projects, and they start to tweak their own instruction to get better. And so one of the things that we really feel like we can do is take all the work we've been doing on teacher clarity over the last few years and looking at our assessments and taking common assessments, right? And what a common assessment is if you have two students who have maybe different world history teachers, they're getting the same assessment. They're getting the same review packet. They're having the same exact experience. So it doesn't matter what teacher you have, you're being assessed on the same information. And so we've been aligning those things, aligning them with standards, and then also trying to be really clear about what students need to know and when they're going to know they know it. And then now we're going to look at that professional learning time and how can we look at the data and better inform our own practice. We really feel like if we start to engage in that process, we'll start to look at data even differently and start to find like, okay, where can we improve our own instruction? And that kind of adage of, let's raise all boats. And I think that we really believe that if we can be intentional about that time more so than we already are, we'll really see some great gains. And so I don't know if students will notice a ton of differences in it. They may notice some different activities, how things look, but really it's opportunity for us to refine our practice to then better support students and where they're at, which we're really excited about this work. And our staff will be doing a lot of professional learning as it relates to kind of how to collaborate professionally in a school. And what does that look like? A lot of people outside of school have meetings and in different teams, and we do too. And so we're really focused on that. But you're maybe wondering, what is the growth score, the value added? Well, I'm going to point to a school report card over the last few years, and this year's hasn't come out yet. But this is our value added or growth score for the high school in math. And I gave you a 3-year trajectory here. And that black line you see in the middle of each one, that's the state average. And so as you can see in 21-22, we were below the state average in more places other than students with disabilities. And of course, my face is covering up this year. But what I want to share with you is that over the last 3 years, you see that blue line moving over and over more to the right, which has been fantastic. But the one area you can't see because my noggin's in the way, the only area in 23-24 that was to the left, that line, was students with disabilities. And so we're trying to figure out how do we better support our students, and what does it look like? So that is in math. Now in English language arts, everything is to the right. Even our students with disabilities and without disabilities are to the right of that line. And so, but we want to get that, they're not, but the students with disabilities is still behind in that growth. So again, what I'm trying to show you here is that over the last 3 years, we've made tremendous strides in growth and really starting to be above the state average in all of these categories. And our really focus is how, when you're a school that does as well as we are, what do we need to get better at, right? Because better is always possible. So as you can see, that is kind of where we're focused on growth, right? It doesn't matter if a student, where they're at, but they're growing. You want them to be growing faster than average, faster than their peers across the state, faster than like the average student. We really feel like if students are growing, we're doing our job. But one of the things I do want to brag about, so that's our goal. That is something I'm also very proud of this piece too. I mean, we've made a ton of great strides in the school report card. But one of the pieces I really want to share here is our composite ACT score that last week came out publicly for everybody to see other schools. And one of the things you'll see here is we're in green because we have the top in the conference. You can see all the schools that are in our conference. We have the highest composite ACT score in the conference. So you can see that we have a 21.9. Second is Wanakee. And what I want to note is Wanakee has, ever since there's been a kind of mandatory ACT, Wanakee for 10 years has always had the top score until this year, right? So last year's juniors, this year's seniors, we were able to pass up Wanakee, and now in the composite ACT score, Mount Horeb is the #1 school in the conference. I'm very proud of this. I'm proud of the work our staff has done. I'm proud of the work our students have done. It goes to show that when you're growing, as you saw before, and you're making strides to better than average and always reaching for better, it pays off. And so I just want to thank you as families for supporting this work. You can see there's some great schools here. I mean, Oregon, Wanakee, these are schools that DeForest, McFarland, schools that really stack up there academically. And here we are leading the pack. So I just want to say thank you for all of that support and something to celebrate. This is something that we are very proud of here. And we feel like you should know about it. This is something to share, something to be proud of, and something that we certainly are excited to have. So that was really it with the podcast today. I wanted to talk about our goal, celebrate some great news this week. There's a ton of information here in our newsletter that you should really go out and check out, right? There's some stuff about our winter sports sign up, senior photos, when those are due. We're back to ACT prep work or pre-ACT prep work with our On to College. It's free for all of our students. So there's some login information there that during advisory students will be doing some, but you at home, their students at home can do this too. Very valuable. Important reminders, calendars, things like that, important dates, but really there's some amazing stuff going on here. And there's also picture retakes this Wednesday. So check out the rest of the newsletter, but we just want to do a little podcast and celebrate some of the great work that's going on here. We hope you have a great week. Thank you again for a strong homecoming, and enjoy this unseasonably warm weather. Not sure I think about it. I like the cool evenings. All right. Have a good day.